There is breaking news in Barcelona, Spain. A van jumped the curb and plowed into a crowd of pedestrians in what police are calling a terrorist attack. There are injuries. We don't know how many yet or how serious they might be. There's also a report from Reuters that two armed men have entered a restaurant in the area. This is all happening in the area of Barcelona known as Las Ramblas, a popular tourist area filled with stalls and shops. Joanne Stern of CBS News is in Barcelona. She will join us in a moment, but right now we're going to join the BBC in their coverage.
We'll bring you the very latest on that developing situation in Barcelona. Our other main story on BBC News at 5. A rise in the top A-level grades for the first time in 6 years, with boys overtaking girls in the highest.
To repeat, a van plowed into a crowd of pedestrians in Barcelona today. We're going to be following this story throughout the day, and we'll be back on the air with any major developments. Once again, there are injuries. We do not know how many. Van plowing into a crowd in Barcelona. We have now Joanne Stern of CBS News, who's in Barcelona. She's going to join us by telephone. Joanne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello.
Joanne, what do we know about what's happened?
Okay, I did not see it, but we had just crossed over that La Rambla to meet up for a walking tour with my daughter and my niece. And shortly into it, people started running down the street screaming, saying that the cops had told everybody to get away from the street, to get away from Las Ramblas and run and try to hide or whatever, and we didn't know what was going on or why. It was quite scary, and it kind of passed for a moment. Nobody knew what happened, and then a few minutes later, another wave of people ran up and said, you know, hide, hide, hide. So we all ran into a store, or different stores, and they locked the doors and everything, and nobody really knew why. We finally came out, and our tour guide, who's been great, took us kind of deeper. We were only about 50 meters away at the time. He took us deeper into the Gothic quarter where the streets are very narrow and no cars are allowed. And we were kind of just trying to decide what to do when another group of people ran from a different direction in, saying that they had heard gunshots from near the Barcelona Cathedral. So we've been just kind of sheltering in the middle of some narrow streets, listening to the sirens and the helicopters above. And now he's leading us out somewhere to see if it might be possible to get a taxi back to our hotel because the metros are closed.
Joanne, the Barcelona police are labeling this a terror attack. And from the pictures we're seeing, there appear to be quite a few people injured on the streets. Have you seen anything like that where you are?
No, because we had been just past that area when it started, and our tour guide obviously didn't want to take us back that way. Mm-hmm. So we did not go to the scene.
Can you describe the area where the attack occurred for people who have not obviously been there?
Was just the main big walking mall with shops and food places, and it's the place for tourists to go and hang out and take pictures and buy things, and it's usually pretty crowded. But it's a walking mall kind of in the middle of the street.
And when you were pushed into a store to get out of the way, were you told anything about what had occurred?
No, we did not know what was happening. We just heard sirens and just people screaming and running and running. And the woman in the store was quite startled by us all running into her store, but she was very nice about it. Mm-hmm. And it was afterward that people started going on their phones and finding some information out about a van plowing into things. And now I'm hearing reports about two people in a restaurant that was very close to where we started out also. We're just about 200 meters from there now, mm-hmm. But we're walking in the opposite direction.
Right. And are you seeing a substantial police presence?
Not where we are right now, but I'm hearing a lot of helicopters and seeing helicopters and stuff. But we're walking away from the scene. Mm-hmm.
And what about ambulances? Are you hearing them or seeing them?
We did hear sirens. I'm not seeing, the thing is, he's trying to keep us away from actual roads where there are cars. So we're in the kind of the more walking, narrow streets and stuff, so that, and in front of the cathedral where no cars are right now.
Joanne, if you would just stay with us a moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
You still there, Joanne?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just stay with us a moment. I just want to repeat for people who may be joining us that there's breaking news in Barcelona, Spain. A van jumped the curb and plowed into a crowd of pedestrians. You're looking at the aftermath here of pictures in the area that's known as Las Ramblas. If you've ever been to Barcelona, you've probably been there. It's a main sort of tourist attraction in the heart of the city. There are injuries. We don't know how many yet or how serious they might be. Joanne Stern is on the phone with us, Joanne Stern with CBS News, who happened to be in Barcelona and very close by when this happened. Joanne, again, tell me again, what exactly you heard in the aftermath of this.
Well, what we heard were just screaming people running down the street saying, oh, now there's a whole bunch of sirens coming by now. And ambulances, too. A lot of people just screaming, running away from Las Ramblas toward where we were, saying that the cops told everybody to move away. But I don't know exactly where it happened along that area, so I don't know if it was exactly right where we had just crossed or if it was down the road a bit. So it's hard for me to tell because, yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we still hear you. I just wanted to... Just to want to inject here, we've been looking at some extremely disturbing video of victims on the curb. Again, a van jumping the curb and plowing into a crowd of pedestrians in Barcelona. There is also a report from Reuters that 2 armed men have entered a restaurant in that area. We don't have any further information on that yet. I believe we have Deborah Pata from our London bureau who's been monitoring this on the phone. Deborah, can you hear me?
I can indeed, Anthony. Yes, you're quite correct. We don't have an official death toll yet. We understand there are deaths, and you can see bodies on the ground. A driver drove a van into this incredibly popular tourist destination. As you pointed out, anyone who's been to Barcelona will have been to the Ramblas. It's like the place you have to go. Busy, popular, cafes, bars, the place to be seen at. So they picked a good... not a good place. I mean, that's a completely incorrect word, but they picked a very, very busy, popular tourist destination. During the weeks up to this, there's been graffiti being posted, very threatening graffiti to tourists. And now this particular incident, police have confirmed that they believe that this is indeed a terrorist attack. And we also understand, we're hearing very disturbing reports that 2 armed men, after the attack, went into a restaurant. The driver of the van fled the scene on foot.
All right, Deborah Pata with an update there on the latest developments in a story that is breaking as we speak. As you see, enormous police presence in Barcelona, Spain, around Las Ramblas, where a van has jumped the curb. There are clearly multiple injuries and very serious ones to tourists. We're looking at BBC coverage right now of the event, and let's listen in.
Spoke to in the last few minutes, our Anwar. He's in Barcelona at the moment and told us what he saw.
It's a beautiful sunny day. Las Ramblas is right in the heart of the city. It's jam-packed with thousands of tourists. I was just about to sit down for something to eat. Then part of the shade decided I'll walk down a bit further. Next thing is literally seconds later, heard a crashing noise. The whole street, I started hearing screaming. Everybody started to run, so I started to run in the direction people were running into shops. Families were screaming. The kids were taking them out of prams. And we started running, and within seconds, police officers were out. I noticed yesterday when I arrived in the city that, there's a heavy police presence. The police officers were in the scene literally within seconds. Guns were out, ambulances, fire engines. You could see at the top of the street, sort of like vans. And then I had spoke to when Stan tried to get into a shop because people were panicking. There was a shopkeeper who was speaking and said something about a van. I spoke to him. tried to ask him, and he said he thought he'd seen a van had driven into the crowd, and he thought 5 or 6 people were very seriously injured. And then at that point, the ambulances, fire brigade, and police officers were on the scene with machine guns and guns. Very quickly, they were very jittery. People were panicking, and then we were pushed back again, and then pushed further back, and we keep getting pushed back. The police are absolutely everywhere at the moment.
So that's one British man who's a lawyer.
BBC coverage of the events in Barcelona, which are still developing. Once again, a van has jumped the curb and plowed into pedestrians in Las Ramblas, a tourist area in the heart of Barcelona. There are multiple injuries. We do not know how serious, but clearly some of them are very serious at this point. We will have more. We will be following this story throughout the day, and we'll be back on the air with any major developments. There will be more Esmel on your local station this evening on our 24-hour streaming news network, CBSN, and right here tonight on the CBS Evening News. I'm Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com.